So back up to the start for a heat of the Princess Royal Challenge Cup. The Princess Royal Challenge Cup is for open women's single sculls. And on the left-hand side, we have Ilo Luik from Molesey Boat Club. And on the right-hand side, here representing Wairiki Rowing Club of New Zealand, the 2014 world champion in this event, Emma Twigg.
And we've just seen a little bit of liveliness on the water in some of the Cox boats that have just come down the course, but actually in a single, particularly, that's that little bit more challenging actually, and it can be a little bit of a bouncy. How do I describe it? A bit of a bowl there between the island and the bank, and actually you can sometimes get quite a lot of lively water as you're going off the blocks, which is when you're trying to really thump it along. And so it can be tricky for these scullers, particularly in a boat on your own and smaller boat, quite narrow. But yeah, both boats handling it well and looking fairly sort of matched here between the two crews.
So it is pretty matched. I mean, Emma Twigg, she doesn't really go off the start that quickly. So when she raced and won in Poznan at World Rowing Cup 2, she was only 4th at 500 metres, but she really just put in a 2 or 3 second difference in fade between the first and second, and you can see really Emma Twigg's looking pretty comfortable now, and the pace through, I guess, from 350 metres through to 750 metres, just too much for Ilo Luik, the Molesey sculler.
She's not letting Emma walk away with it, but it's great to see Emma Twigg racing again, really, sort of returning post Rio, and she's a sort of a familiar name in the sport, and having seen her raced so well over the years, and it was a shame to have lost her from the sport, but back in and obviously gearing up, ready for Tokyo.
Well, I think some commentary team who shall be nameless actually said, oh, it's nice to see Emma Twigg back after she's had a baby. Well, in fact, she hasn't been having a baby. She was doing a FIFA Masters course in Management Law and Humanities of Sport in Lausanne in Switzerland. She took a year out. New Zealand Rowing kind of said, well, if you're going to do that, you can't row, which I thought was a bit sort of, iffy. But she's decided she's coming back for Tokyo, and it's been great to see her back on the banks of the river, and she's such a great competitor. World champion in 2014, took the silver in Chengdu in 2013, got a bronze, if memory serves, in Carapiro and in Bled in 2010 and 11. And what she wants is that Olympic medal, Tasky, because that's the only medal that is not in her collection.
You'd want to come back for that, wouldn't you? Yeah, it's she's clearly had a bit of a refresh, taken a bit of time out from the sport. Look at that, look, just motoring along, got plenty of telemetry and feedback going on there, probably a little GPS box on the back there, that little black box just sitting on top of the decks there. Would you say there, Martin? Yeah,
I just wonder what that box was. The New Zealand team, go for all the modern sports gadgetry. I guess that will be used for the first half of the race for looking, exactly what the speed of the boat was, how much it's slowing down,
acceleration, that sort of check, all that sort of information, a bit like a flight recorder for an aeroplane.
So the 32-year-old, I mean, there's a lot of mature women. I think the winner of this race will go on to face Dimchenko of Ukraine, who won her heat earlier. And, well, as we pull out and look at Ilo Luik, it's probably appropriate to say it's fantastic for a Molesey female sculler to be in this event, but Luik became the first Estonian to race in the boat race when she helped Oxford to a pretty substantial victory in 2016. And she went down to the Surrey-based club after graduating from Oxford. There she is, qualified for last year's regatta, lost in the heat. She's going to lose this year to a far more prestigious opponent.
It's a big name, isn't it? There's no harm in that. She's raced well here. She's making light work of what looks like slightly choppy water.
Yeah, I'm always envious of seeing. I've never rowed a single scull at Henley, and I'd love to have come down the track just once in the single scull, because these are the people that are fantastic at this event.
Martin, I have to say, actually, having done it myself, it's one of those things that
Talk us through it, Pasky.
It's sometimes
not
as fun as you'd like. I mean, it's always fun to race, but at the Diamonds, there's that pressure on just you, and actually, it's a challenging course, and particularly as a lightweight or former lightweight, you'd always be drawn against a sort of a heavier crew, and generally they just outpower you, which can be quite frustrating. And it's a long way to row. With a crew, you've usually got some with a crew of multiple people in the boat. You've got some some assurance. You've got people cheering you on or giving you some encouragement. Whereas on your own, it's your own thoughts. You know, they bounce around in your head as to what's going on or where am I and how's this going. And you know, it can be quite a long old row.
Quality field in the women's sculls. You see Emma Twigg just looking round there, just checking where she is. Well, maybe she's taking in the scenery. I wonder what that looked to her left or looked to the right there. I'm just going to say the Palmares of the Princess Royal Challenge Cup. You've got Navkova, won it several times in the last 8 or 9 years. Leisha Chaynard of Holland has won it. She's here again this year. Anna-Catherine Thiele, she beat Victoria Thornley in that final, where Thornley had something going on, I think, with her boat. And then, of course, the world silver medalist Inga Mellon won Henley last year on her route to winning a silver medal behind Sunita Purspura, the Irish sculler. She's quite a veteran too, Purspura. She's about 35 or 36 years of age. Twigg 32. Nice coming in at one of the younger of the top female scullers. But that World Cup 2 in Poznan was a decent race. She beat fantastic field. Karin Zeeman, Cara Kohler, Victoria Thornley was in that field. Thea Eriksson, the silver medalist from the London 2012 Olympics. So Emma Twigg is on form, and she's a strong second half of the course person. She hasn't had to use that. That will stay in her back pocket. So she's progressing gently up to the finish. Water's a little bit difficult. Wind's blowing off, contracovers all over the place. I suggest it's doing the same to Emma Twigg's yellow Empire shell as she crosses the finish line after a very comfortable victory over the sculler from Molesey Boat Club, Ilo Luik.